You have to select the era, and then it walks you through each choice, and species is like the second or third choice.
Oh, not in Star Trek, not in the Forge.
Yeah, not in the Forge,
Okay,
because you
Anyway,
don't get all the extra races and stuff in the
that's what I was
Forge.
okay.
so since this might turn into a semi Sub-Zero session, I'm just going to go ahead and record it just in case anybody else was going to want to join in and need any of the same information.
Posterity's sake.
That too.
Well, Sam's also not here yet.
Yeah, so
She said she was
that's
gonna
why I haven't
do a
worked
lot.
on any main
Well, do you
stuff
want to
yet.
go through explaining how the different traits actually work,
Okay, so for the traits,
or attributes, all that stuff?
let me turn to my notes here. All right, so starting at the beginning, I am going to track down my character sheet and upload it to the Discord. Just so that, well, actually, you know what? Go into Admiral Holtz's character sheet on the Forge there, and you'll be able to access the character that I went ahead and started just to test everything. And when y'all are ready, I can walk you through the character sheet and give you a rundown of how this silly system works.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. So the overall main things that we use to calculate success and failure in the 2D20 system is going to be basically a combination of your attributes and disciplines. And when you add those up, you wind up with a target number. So in the case of like control plus command, your target number would be 13. The 2d20 is kind of your baseline roll. That's determining whether you succeed or fail at the task. And if you roll...
Succeed, it's lower, right?
Yes, and you need to match or be lower than at least I think it was the... Sorry, I'm incorrect on that. It has to be lower than the target number in order to succeed. And so if I went ahead and pulled up the chat window and then performed a task of control and command, rolling 2 standard dice, receiving a score of 3 and 9, I achieved 2 successes. And the number of successes is compared against the challenge score of the operation that you're performing. A lot of the super easy stuff, like going to warp when there's nobody around, can basically be a challenge 0. You don't have to roll it. Going to warp as you're leaving a gravity well, that might be a challenge 2, because it's a little more difficult. Going to warp while you're in the atmosphere of a planet and you're already traveling at quarter impulse and everything is absolutely going to shit and the Borg are on your tail, I'm going to call that a challenge 5 if you want to actually survive. To receive additional dice, obviously having 2 dice in front of you is not going to make it all the way to 5 successes. You get additional dice in a number of different ways. Looking on the character sheet again, we have focuses, values that add to your die pool if they are relevant to a situation. So in the case of the Admiral here, we're being chased by the Borg and we're about to die, I would say that the focus of survival applies to the situation. and so I would get a third die in order to help. Additionally, the ship itself has subsystems that would be able to contribute 1 die to any particular role that subsystem is assigned to. If we had superior warp core, there are multiple ship abilities that can make it so that the warp cores or impulse engines are superior to other ships. That would give us another 4th die, and then having either the captain, by using their action to inspire Khan. Captain is sort of the bard of this whole crew. Can inspire Khan to give it their all, because damn it, we're Starfleet and we're going to get the hell out of this, because we always do. That could add a 5th die, and then you're rolling for perfection. So, to put things in Pathfinder D&D terms, I'll break down the attributes into more familiar stat boxes. Control is a lot like dexterity. It's what you need to manipulate things, handle weaponry, do tasks. Daring, actually I'll come back to daring because that doesn't precisely have an equivalent, but it's basically how much chutzpah you got. You know, if you're a Tom Paris type that is just wanting to fly by the seat of their pants and that's your thing, then that might make more sense than control. Fitness is your strength score, insight, your wisdom, presence, charisma, and reason is intelligence. And for the most part, I'm just going to say it's going to be almost a 1-for-1 what I think applies. If I think that a check in D&D would require a dexterity roll, I'm going to say that control is going to be your base attribute for doing something. So back to daring, the recommended equivalent I got was Constitution, but that doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. It's actually kind of more like acrobatics, in my opinion. But I think we can apply the general definition of daring, and we can all understand.
It might come up if all of a sudden we were attacked. A lot of people might pause, whereas the daring person immediately jumps action, correct?
Precisely, yeah. It can also apply to if you wanted to make the Star Trek equivalent of the Kessel Run. You might not necessarily be in a life or death situation, but you just want to do it because, that gauntlet is there to be run, and, that's a, intrinsic thing in you that, I got to do this because it's there. I would call that daring as well. Let me see. So just to the left of the attributes and disciplines, you have the stress track. That's effectively your HP. Because the 2D20 system doesn't have a leveling system in the sense that D&D does, you basically start out as a complete person. You're already a badass. You have a backstory, and as you build your character, you're writing that backstory that you were at, in the case of Rear Admiral Holtz, you were at Wolf 359. Your ship was destroyed. You are the only survivor. And that has shaped your worldview. And so he's not level 1, he's not level 20, he's just level human. He is. And so likewise, all of your characters are kind of already where they are in their life, and there will be opportunity to grow. There is something of an experience system that apparently every major YouTuber and column writer on the system agrees is completely and utterly broken. So we'll actually be modifying it slightly, and I'll get to that in a minute. So my apologies to anybody that might have read the rulebook through that horrible, horrible chapter.
Oh, yeah, that was something.
Yeah, it was a complete and utter mess. But anyway, so your stress track is determined by your fitness plus security. So if you wanted to be the chief of security or part of the equivalent Marine squad of just buff badasses, then fitness and security are the ones where you're going to want to focus getting points into. In cases where the ship is attacked or you're in combat and damage is done to you, your stress increases dependent on the weapon used against you. And if you reach a point where your stress is completely maxed out, you black out and your character is immobilized, and any person on the crew would have to make a daring plus med save to stabilize you. Luckily, it's only at a difficulty 1, so it's a relatively easy thing. But you would just be stabilized. You'd have to be beamed out and gotten to sick bay where your wounds could be properly treated. And there, to actually heal you, it then becomes a control plus medicine, because there it's no longer a do or die moment. It's now clamp that, suture that, give me a hypo spray of this. So does that make sense how the differing attributes apply to even in similar discipline actions?
I think so.
All right.
And then you always set what's being used, right?
Yes, when the overall narrative of a session, I'm going to structure much like an episode of Star Trek. Go figure. But I think just by the virtue of the way that this group has a tendency to play, that most nights are kind of one-offs. We're not going on overly extended missions in any of our games. I think the episodic style is going to benefit all of us. That way, if you do miss a week, you're really not missing a whole lot. Alternatively, if you do wind up missing several weeks, since everybody is going to have the same opportunities, and this leads into how I'm going to discuss milestones, as they're called in this game, everybody's going to have equal opportunity to modify their characters in small ways, basically based on the mission that they just completed. So if you go out and realize that you're really full control, full reason Vulcan just sucks at everything, then there are opportunities to move stat points around in order to improve yourself. You can let me see, where is let's see, get different notes here. Whoops, that's the ship. Game mastering. Sorry, I got the physical book just because it's a hell of a lot easier to flip pages. Okay, so milestones in the core rulebook are on page 139. And the way that everybody seems to fix this problem is that the way it works by the rules is anytime a main character is present in half of the action, then and challenges their values or a directive, or is injured, or really exemplifies a value or Starfleet directives, they get a milestone point. If they really stood out and kind of like stole the spotlight of the show, they could get an extra milestone. It's all complete bullshit. Just completely ignore all of that, because it's complete and utter nonsense, and would take about 20 sessions to get everybody to an equivalent of level 1. So what we're going to do is just every time that we meet, you will be able to modify your character in accordance with the normal milestone and spotlight milestone character options. So your character may choose to rewrite one of their values, such as a starship as a home, a crew, its crew, a family. If that really wasn't working out, it wasn't doing what you wanted it to do, you could change that value to reflect something a little bit different, that perhaps the starship is temporary and the crew is more important, so you would change it to focus on something more crew related. There are a number of built-in suggestion values and focuses. When it comes to the values, you could pretty much write anything that you want if you can distill it down into a maxim. But there are a number of suggested built into the character builder that is probably easiest to start with. But you could change that. You could take a look at 2 of your disciplines, such as command, security, engineering, etc. Reduce one of them and increase the other, so that you could shift points around, so that you could go a super heavy security build or a super heavy medical build that base character creation wouldn't otherwise have allowed. You could change one of your focuses, like maybe your character isn't working out in diplomacy, and so you wanted to change that over to stellar cartography or something.
So we don't get lost.
So yeah, you'd rather not get lost than have to deal with first contact. You could also take one of your supporting characters and apply one of the options that we just covered to that supporting character. I'll go over supporting characters in a minute, because given how many people want to play this, I think we're going to have a lot of action without needing the necessity of NPCs. So I'm going to change the rule, just tweak it a little bit to make it work so that all of us playing are actually having fun with the character that we like. You can also save a milestone, which basically means you can use it as like a Hail Mary. So if you're staring down a Borg and you know that particular day or that particular session, and that scared the living shit out of your character or something, you could use that in a future episode and kind of get extra, let's see, at any point in a subsequent adventure, the player may call back to that save milestone, and that player then gains the effects of a point of determination. Determination is effectively hero dice from Pathfinder. It's your reroll.
Fun.
Additionally, what I'm going to allow after every mission in the normal milestones, just like every day you come in, if we want to shuffle things around, we'll do it. The spotlight milestones is basically a repeat of the same earlier, except that you can choose 2 of the ship's systems, reducing one of those systems by 1 and increasing the other by 1, so that the ship itself can slowly be improved in that manner. You could also choose to change one of the ship's talents, such as superior hyperdrive, warp engines. There are a number of things found under Starship Talents on the compendium page. So, improved power system, improved shields, modular lab, redundant systems. The way I'm going to handle leveling up is after a certain number of missions, everybody is just going to have a what's called an arc milestone, where you can choose a single attribute and increase it by 1, choose a single discipline and increase it by 1, select one additional trait, select one additional focus, one additional value, or doing any of that for your supporting character. So that's going to happen at sessions. Where did I write it down? 3, 7, 12, I believe was the next one. Where's that stupid chart? Okay, I don't know where that chart got to, but somewhere in there, normally you save up milestones in order to reach an arc milestone, and the arc milestones become progressively more difficult to reach. So to get to the first one, it's 2 regular milestones, and then your arc, 3 regular milestones, and then the arc, 4, etc., etc. But since we're getting one every week, it's effectively 3rd week, 7th week, etc. I will remind everybody as we reach those particular days, as we reach it. Because I know I'm not doing a great job at describing all of this.
No. I think.
Did you want us to start as young officers, experienced officers, or veteran officers, or choice?
We are going to be... you're all the bridge crew, so you're experienced officers.
Comes in here.
And I've mentioned multiple times supporting characters. They are effectively red shirts that can be brought in as NPCs in accordance with the rules. But I think it would be a little more fun for everybody to basically write 2 characters. Your main character, that is bridge crew, and to have a lower decks character that, dependent on the mission that we go on, before, I'll give you kind of an overview of what the mission is going to entail, and you can decide whether you want to be your main character or whether you think it would be more interesting to have your lower deck character in there for that action. They're obviously weaker, but they can provide some additional disciplines, focuses, values that might be different from your main character, that might apply more to the situation. If, for example, your main character is the Klingon security officer, but the mission that we're going on is something completely unrelated, can't actually think of anything where security wouldn't apply, but I'm sure there are multiple episodes where Worf wasn't involved. But you think that your lower decks botanist might be a more interesting character to have along to explore what could be a bootleg Genesis device. And also I might throw in the occasional lower deck episode where everybody's bridge crew is thrown out the window and we'll focus on the lower decks. Kind of depends on where my whims take me.
Like it.
At the end of every mission, every officer has a reputation score. Everybody starts out at a baseline of 10, which means you're neither well-renowned nor well-loathed in Starfleet. You're just a California class that's been out there doing the do. Sorry, I just binged Lower Decks.
Oh, nice. Did the whole thing?
Well, the first 2 seasons, I refused to pay for CBS All Access, so I paid for the Blu-rays.
Oh,
But I'm caught up through the first 2 seasons, and I just want to say Dr. Ta'ana is what Pulaski would be if she had been allowed to pull the, just really lay into people.
that is correct.
But anyway, throughout the mission, as you all go about your duties or your not duties, as you so choose, I'll be keeping track of whether you are doing things in accordance with Starfleet protocols, such as, and this table can be found on page 141 of the core book, such as acting in accordance with orders and directives. That would be a positive thing. Challenging a directive, that would be a negative. Prevented combat, positive. And why did they alternate this? Anyway, all of the positive things. Prevented combat, establishing an alliance with an enemy, directly contributed to saving lives, acted above and beyond the call of duty. Things that are negative, challenging a directive, such as breaking the Prime Directive, going to the Genesis planet, hanging on to an Omega particle. These things will not reflect well on your career in Starfleet.
If
Resorting
we
to
if we do that at all.
Well, it's like if you go and choose to synthesize an Omega particle and something happened where people that were off the ship learned of it in any way, shape, or form, I would consider it negative. If you synthesized an Omega particle and then immediately destroyed it and it never got out of the lab and nobody ever learned about it, well, that's your immoral behavior.
Destroyed a Omega particle. That sounds like a bomb.
Yes, it wouldn't end well if you synthesize an Omega particle, by the way. Even the Borg won't do it. Anyway, resulting to lethal force without cause. So, you can engage in combat, but, don't be Han. Don't shoot first.
What if my cause was I didn't like them?
I would have to say that would be in violation of Starfleet protocols, because your personal opinion of another person is separate from the sanctity of life.
Just thought I'd check.
It's
Of course.
irrelevant is the term you're looking for.
No, not irrelevant.
Cause I didn't like him.
Your opinion is irrelevant.
You saying it's like it's a moot point? Like a cow's opinion?
So, what if I took something from somebody that would be stealing? Well, what if I wanted it more than the other person? That would still be stealing. Easily best line from Guardians if I really had to pick one.
No, you don't understand. I wanted it more than they had. I love it, yes.
And then another thing that would be a negative towards your reputation would be taking unnecessary risks in the course of a mission. Needlessly flying into the atmosphere of a quasar just because there was a runabout behind you, not a good reason. If there were 5 Borg cubes behind you and a sphere in hot pursuit, that would be reasonable.
Sounds fair.
Why are we being turned into like lawfully good characters?
Because
it's Starfleet.
Yeah, because you are Starfleet officers. However, because it is in fact more interesting, your reputation is not going to directly reflect on your rank or any disciplinary actions from Starfleet as per the rules. If you reach a point where the crew is collectively a shitbag murderous bunch of insane...
Maquis?
Yeah. Well, no, at least the Maquis had reason.
That's
But
true.
if you wanted to just... You reach the point where you realize Starfleet is not your home. I mean, you could go AWOL. There's nothing stopping me from allowing you to just go AWOL. Go join the Maquis.
What
Or...
rank do you want us to start at?
Did that give you an option?
I talked to you about that before and you hadn't decided yet.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it matters too much. Let me see. The way I understand it, the rank is... where is the reputation and... Okay, so the ranks that are available to you are Ensign, Lieutenant Junior Grade, Lieutenant, Lieutenant Commander, Commander, and Captain. Your responsibilities and privileges are what contribute to your losing or gaining reputation. If things go overboard with this reputation scale, it seems to be a self-feeding feedback loop that the more reputation you gain or lose, it starts to grow exponentially. And so if that gets out of hand, I'm going to have to reserve the right to adjust how that works. But you are basically allowed, dependent on your rank, to break protocol a certain number of times. Once I
Don't
give...
happen if you want to be naughty.
Yeah, it's at the end of the episode where I tell you that you have 3 actions that were positive and 1 that was negative. The way you would resolve this is you roll a number of d20s equal to the number of positive influences, so 3, with each of the d20 rolls equal to or less than the character's reputation, scoring a success. So starting out at 10, you would need to roll your 3 die and achieve less than 10. Each d20 that rolls equal to or less than the character's rank privileges scores 1 additional success. The rank privileges being on page 140, basically like critical successes with a sliding scale dependent on rank.
The higher our rank, the easier it is to get away with stuff.
Yes.
You want us to start off with lower ranks and work up to that then?
Well,
Or...
You're the bridge crew. You are already fully self-actualized
be.
Starfleets. The entire crew could be ensigns.
Ensigns and Lieutenant JGs, I believe.
Yes.
Depending on the size of the ship.
Well, and I think the rulebook stated that typically a commander is the lowest rank that actually gets to captain a ship, and then typically you only have a single captain, like captain rank, acting as a captain. So there are upper limits on we can't all be captain ranked and be on the same ship essentially. Per general guidelines, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, if for some odd reason all of you wanted to be ensigns, though I don't quite know why, I could just generate an NPC captain.
Right. Just mainly if we're senior officers or junior officers, like how long we've been at Starfleet, how many ships we've been on, that kind of stuff.
Right, and that's the way that you're allowed to build your character, your choice. You know, if the way that you picture your character in your head is,
Lieutenant.
a Ensign Kim type that is part of the bridge crew, is part of away teams, they're right in the action, and everybody knows his name. then you can play that character. If you want to be, more Spock, the second in command, but not quite up to captain yet, but still a long history at the Vulcan Science Academy, multiple other ships, then you can build your character that way too. Anyway, regarding the reputation, let's see. Number of successes scored is less than the number of negative influences. So if you rolled 3 positive influence d20, succeeding on all 3, then you would be allowed less than the negative. Oh, I said that backwards from the rulebook. Anyway, if you roll in excess of how many times you negatively influence anything, then nothing happens, and nothing negative happens. And the number of rolls in excess of how many negative things, if you had 1 negative thing, and you had 2 additional successes on your rolls, 2 would be added to your reputation score for the next time we did this, making your reputation 12.
Gotcha.
Alternatively, if you did the inverse and had 3 negative influences, 1 positive, and you rolled 1 success, then you would then subtract that 1 success, plus you could also subtract your privilege score. So for the captain, you have the privilege of fucking up 4 times. So even only doing 1 good thing in accordance with Federation guidelines, you could still commit 5 genocides.
I need to become captain as well. Each.
And once those, well, I might make it a little more difficult than just being allowed to, or allowing you to just commit random genocides. I won't make it easy on you. Because committing a planet-wide genocide would have influences through the High Command far in excess of anything that your personal reputation would reflect. So, like I said, I mean, you can commit genocide. You can go AWOL and join the Maquis. If you want a couple of, Odyssey classes chasing you down.
Fun.
I mean, if you want to be on the run from them, I'm not going to stop you. I will chase you. I will try and disable your ship. I will try and drag you back to Earth for court-martial. If that was the route you chose to go, well, you'd have to figure out how to stop me.
All you have to do is change it from stun to kill, right?
I was just going to say, kill you too?
There are feedback loops that I can use, and ample storytelling opportunity to. I mean, I'm gonna go where you guys go. I mean, I truly want to see where you guys go in this galaxy, because I'm as curious as anyone. So it's not that I'm going to stop you just because you're going off of my, premeditated path. I'm going to write this episodically. It's like if one thing happens this week, then it's like, well, what I had planned next isn't going to work, so I'll just modify it to you sped through the Bajoran wormhole and have popped out in the Gamma Quadrant, and you're on the run. Well, I probably won't send a ship right after you. You've got more pressing issues having to deal with the Dominion over there. Or, well, at least what's left of the Dominion.
It's like the one we
So-
began with them.
Era-wise, Sam, since you just rejoined us, or just joined us, we're playing in 2381, which is the same year as Lower Decks, or 5 years after Star Wars or Star Trek Insurrection.
You think I remember the movies?
Well, I mean that's
You
fair.
remember when Patrick Stewart was attacked by the Borg on his own ship?
That was First Contact, and
No, that was
and
Insurrection, I thought.
and there was some of that in Insurrection.
Isn't that when he had the
and-
girlfriend Borg girl?
Yeah, Insurrection was the Borg Queen, but he was also attacked in First Contact. It was a theme.
Oh, that's true.
Say, Next Generation was really the only one I actually watched because I was pretty young for the original series.
Mm.
You watched it.
9 was boring.
Well, the way that I'm going to handle meta knowledge of all of the Star Trek series, it's basically just common knowledge to everyone in the universe.
Sounds fair to me.
I mean, the way that they're portraying it, especially on Lower Decks, is everything that everyone before them did has happened and everyone knows about it.
Yes. Sounds completely fair.
And so, if
No pretending you don't know something.
yeah, and if you know something from Voyager or from the original series or Next Generation, well, that's just part of your character knowledge because they would have taught it back at Starfleet Academy or in your own personal study as you've advanced through the ranks. Especially the various Enterprise crews, Voyager. They're very, very well known stories throughout the Federation.
Voyager was what, just
I
said.
mean, Voyager, I believe, has the record for most ejected warp cores at 4, a record I aim to break.
Well, I wish you well, and if you're within Federation space, I'm certain that a tugboat will come out and give you a new warp core post-haste. If you're out in the ass end of nowhere at the edge of the galaxy looking at the galactic barrier and you eject your warp core, you might have to do some negotiating with some local warp species.
That
If
is
there
a
are
risk
any.
I'm willing to take.
Or you could do that. I'm legit. So, for anybody that has read through the books, is there anything that's come up that doesn't make sense to you? And if it doesn't make sense to me either, I will study it further.
Honestly, I'm relying on your knowledge, so I'm not doing too much deep dive into the books.
It's all right.
Zero.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is kind of needlessly complicated. What I've distilled it down to for you tonight, I think, covers the majority of actions that you're going to do. I'll walk you through the first combat encounters, because the way they do damage and the stress track, getting knocked out, whether it's a fatal attack, it just really strikes me as something that needs to actually be experienced in situ rather than having it described to you. Mostly in part because I also lost the page. Combat 172. There we go. So it has a lot in similar with the Pathfinder action system. Minor actions such as aiming, drawing, dropping down, interacting, moving, preparing, standing, they are basically a free task that you get to do right out of the gate each time it comes to be your turn. You can then use momentum, which I haven't quite gotten to yet, how you receive more of that, but the momentum pool is best defined as success in excess. That every time you perform a task with challenge ratings, you're rolling your dice, and the successes that you have are applied to the task at hand, but if there are extra, for example, if you had wound up rolling 4 dice on a challenge 2 task, and you achieve victory in all 4, then you would receive 2 momentum that can be used by the party for any number of special tasks, which... wrong page. Which in this case that I was describing, you can use it to purchase additional dice. You can also use momentum to create an advantage or remove a complication, which are what's a D&D equivalent? Kind of like retreating to regroup and then flanking an enemy, or if there was a complication like a poisonous gas being emitted into a room, you could use the create advantage to harness that gas, or possibly even try and get that gas shut off. You can use momentum to obtain information from me, the GM, such as in cases where you're working on a warp core of unknown origin. You could use momentum to ask me questions about what you're working on. It's like, are there any identifiable markings that would suggest what species it came from? It's kind of like the truth spell, just cast on me. I don't have to give you all of the information, but I do have to be truthful in what I say to you. You can also use momentum to increase the difficulty of something, which, if you've got super great attribute discipline score, and you're just going to absolutely kill this task you're working on, you can make it harder on yourself. And I don't see the point of that. Why does that exist?
Yeah, why would you make something harder on yourself unless you're getting something out of it?
Increased difficulty.
Science and medicine are blue shirts, right?
Yes, that's correct.
I believe the increased difficulty is in the instance of a difficulty 0 task. Instead of not rolling, you can make the difficulty 1 roll and then potentially gain momentum.
That would be a good point. Thank you.
And that would be a benefit of making something harder.
And so, yes, that would be an example. Hi, Moogie. What do you want? Daddy's trying to describe a very difficult game right now.
Cat just caught a fly. I love it.
Calling yourself daddy to a cat, huh?
I have a high opinion of myself.
As long as you don't want to start having kittens, you're good.
Good lord. He got them fixed, remember?
Yep.
Not an
Yeah,
option.
they're fine there. Anyway, so to further describe momentum and threat next, the momentum, in the case of the challenge ratings, like I said, all of your extra dice that go above and beyond the number required to complete a task go into your momentum pool, and anybody in the party can use it. Alternatively, cases where you would otherwise be able to spend momentum, but perhaps you don't have any or don't have enough to do what you want. Say if you wanted to buy 2 additional dice for your rolls, your first die only costs 1 momentum. The second costs, I believe it's 3 momentum.
I think it's 1 for the first, 2 for the second, 3 for the third. So you would
Yes, so
6 momentum total to get 3 additional dice. If you
Yep.
wanted.
Yep, that's it. Just lost my page on that one. But yes, so for example, if you had all 6 momentum, you would be able to purchase 3 additional dice. With 5 dice that you're rolling on an action being the maximum that you are able to roll. In the case that you had 0 momentum and you wanted to buy an additional die for a challenge roll, you could then instead choose to add to threat, which I use basically as my momentum for NPCs, enemy ships, environmental conditions, and various other ways to make your life more difficult. Okay, can I have that book back, please? Okay, apparently not.
Chat's book now.
Yep, the Moogie has claimed that one. Alright, let me try and find the equivalent pages in my Klingon book. Okay, here we are. Traits and complications. We just went through that. So determination, like I said, that is basically your reroll. It's used like a hero point.
Are those shared?
Those are personal. You begin each session with 1 point of determination. Ouch. And can be used to add a single bonus d20 to your dice pool that has already rolled a 1, generating 2 successes automatically. This must be the first d20 you buy using either determination or momentum. Nope.
I was just testing it.
Ah, okay. You can re-roll one of your d20s in the die pool. You can use it to immediately perform another task, which you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. If you were doing what's called an extended task, like if you were deconstructing and reconstructing the warp core, that would revolve around or involve multiple different tasks that require multiple rolls to accomplish. And if you speed was of the essence, you would use that to get into the next task immediately rather than wait until your next turn. You can also use it to immediately create an advantage that applies to the current scene. In the core rulebook, it's called Make It So. And I think last of the primary concern is the threats. And as you go through the game and generate...
You muted yourself, buddy.
Your mute died. Your mic died.
Okay, how about now?
Oh, we
You're
can-
there.
Okay, sorry. Cat stepping on the keyboard there.
Sure, blame the cat.
All right. Well, where did I leave off?
Make it so.
Okay.
Literally.
Yes. And that just really allows you to just immediately create an advantage. That you flank the enemy, you get the upper hand, you drop a rock on them, whatever. The threats, I think, is the last major thing. And as I was saying, that allows me to alter the scenes or boost NPCs in the same way that you use momentum on the player characters. The larger the threat pool, the greater the danger. And officially speaking, your characters don't know what the threat pool is supposed to be, but the way that the Forge is set up is, I believe it's visible to you at all time. And yes, it looks like it is. So you'll just look at the threat number as more of a general sense of foreboding. You kind of feel like as the threat number grows higher, you might feel like there's another boot that's about to drop. But apparently you're not supposed to know about that, so that's kind of silly that they didn't do that and make it hidden. But, oh well, it's more fun this way. So to generate threats, whenever a player character wants to use an immediate momentum spend, which is buying d20s or gaining information or any of those things that need to happen right now, momentum spends, you can choose to pay all or some of that momentum spend by giving me threats. So if you're wanting to ask for information that would otherwise cost two momentum, you could say we would like to spend to put that into threat instead of spending momentum, and so I would gain 2 threat instead of the momentum. If there's a complication from either a action or roll, then you can choose to ignore the complication and just add 2 threat to my pool. Going into threatening circumstances, such as enemy territory or unknown terrain, that would generate 1 or 2 threat just automatically by virtue of going there. Non-player character momentum. Some NPCs are built in the very same manner as your characters are, and in some cases we might have opposing die rolls where you're trying to complete a task before me, or you're trying to get a shot off before me. If I had any dice in excess of my success rate, I could add that to my threat pool just as if it were momentum. And as I said, I then use that to either be momentum for my characters, increase threatening circumstances, create complications, to bring in reinforcements, environmental effects, and I think that finally brings us to the last weird thing of this system, and that would be the challenge die, or the D6. On the bottom bar, I have the chat window. I had set up a little macro system for you to be able to roll any of the dice, but it was the easiest way to get the D6 on there. And you might see that this die has a non-standard number of faces. And let me find the page. Challenge dice, page 73. of the core book. These 6-sided die are used primarily for inflicting damage and determining how much protection a character receives from cover. On the die face, there are 2 faces that have a Starfleet symbol. There's a 1, a 2, and 2 blank faces. The Starfleet arrow is an effect. Effects have a score of 1 and additionally trigger special outcomes dependent on the circumstances.
Effect like poisoning?
In some cases it might. It could also be that if you were using it to stun somebody, the stun might last longer. Or if you were being caught in an explosion, it might mean plasma burns for you. They are used relatively infrequently. So, when we come up to it, I'll go over it again. Because it does have a lot of Deus Ex Machina kind of things attached to it, where D12 or D8s might be used in D&D to resolve some things. This system kind of hobbled itself to sticking with just the one, the D20 and the D6.
Fun.
All right, and so, that's kind of it. That's the system. So I got that link for the character creator. You'll be able to go through and, you can roll the species if you want. And, whoops, wrong button again. So the main character has all of the background and whatnot that you really take a lot of time to, put thought into what kind of character development your character had before coming to the bridge of you guys make up names sometime. Whereas your lower deck character, if you haven't played with the supporting character tab in the character creator, is just a one-page quick build. I mean, you're lowest of the low, fresh out of Starfleet ensign, that you're in engineering, you're in science, you're in command, and that's basically it. So you don't need to focus too much on the backstory of that character, because all of the lower deck characters are going to be our, we watch them grow characters. They're going to be the Miles O'Brien.
Fair. Anybody opposed to me being the operations manager? It's like a midway point between the engineering and the science. I can kind of assist where I need to be.
Who's gonna be the captain?
The captain, if there are multiple people that want to go on the command path, I was going to suggest running this pirate ship style and having elections for captain. The rules for that would be secret ballot and no voting for yourself.
But if it's secret, how would you know?
Well, it wouldn't be secret to me. I would know who would
We
vote
have
for who,
computers,
but
and we definitely don't have anybody that can mess with computers.
we don't need to make it too complicated. It's not like I'm going to hold it over anybody.
I'm just playing.
But yes, it does seem like so far a lot of people wanted to be going into different sections already, and so I think it'll all work out that there might only be a couple command people anyway, and so determining who's captain could just be as simple as, well, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the mechanism is going to be elections.
What if nobody wants to do it?
Then it becomes an NPC, and I invent a character that somebody would still have to be my number one to lead away missions in my stead. But you would turn, report to me. I'd basically walk out of the ready room and, ask for my number one to report. I would decide what you would do in accordance with whatever the captain's values or mission is, and send y'all on your merry way.
Sounds fair.
So, in the case of an NPC captain, he would be like the worst captain in the world, because he would just basically sit in his ready room waiting for a report and then come out, give an order, and then go back into his ready room.
I love it.
Basically the first chef I ever worked for.
All they did was office work.
Under your hat.
So Sam, one of the things you're going to want to do is there's certain species you're interested in. We can look up more about them if you want, or if you're pretty set on what you know, you can just select it. You can be Klingon. We just because I think that's what Mike is.
Yes, Klingon, I'm going to have to scan in a few extra relevant pages that aren't available in any of our PDF forms. But Mike was bouncing it off earlier. There is the option from the Klingon core book to create your own Klingon house, and whether you're a minor house, major house, a fallen house, that brings with it its own.
There's also liberated Borg.
Yeah, I saw that.
Androids, though.
I thought there was somewhere in there.
Wasn't Data an android?
Data was an android, yeah.
Huh.
He was a single android, wasn't he? One of a kind.
I think there might be like a. I think there's a
one of
custom other option somewhere in there. But anyway, the Klingons, you can go so far as to make your own house, and there are additional rules for much like the the reputation scale that everybody has. Klingons can choose to also have an honor system that operates very similarly, only in accordance with Klingon's sense of honor and shame, which I think is quite enjoyable role-playing opportunities, that you can be a dishonored Klingon, but a absolutely stellar Starfleet officer. You know, the example I gave was Worf accepting discommendation, and that not being restored for many seasons. But there was a couple of seasons where every Klingon ship that passed through his general system decided to, roll down their windows and spit at the Patak.
Yes, it was awesome.
There's no trouble.
It's great
What are
storytelling.
all the races?
Huh?
I think it was a little off, but I think you asked what are the races?
On the compendium side of the thing, there's a list of races.
The one available on the Forge isn't exhaustive, but if you're
Inkari, Arbazon,
Yeah.
Rathi.
if you've heard of it, they exist.
Yeah. The Cindy's? That'd be funny.
I'd allow it.
The Gorn, the Jem'Hadar.
I don't even
Oh,
know
God,
half of
it's
these. I don't know what a
Borg and
Zakdorn is. I'll be honest. I have no clue.
There's that.
Betazoids.
Yeah, Romulan, Talaxian, Sana.
You can be a Vulcan.
Would a dog from Sana be a son of a bitch?
Probably. No, I thought that was Roxana's son.
Ah, good point.
You alive, Mike?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
You fell asleep.
Not yet.
before our next session, I'll go ahead and create your starship. I'm going to give you the base stat block of the Intrepid class. Because, like I said, that ship I slammed together for you figures somewhat equivalent to that in terms of size and armament. And in case you couldn't tell, that's a slightly oversized front cargo bay / landing area that can hold a number of ships, and I think the Intrepid block said 4? Anyway, I don't remember the Defiant being able to carry around any extra shuttlecraft.
What was the race?
Fire had shields and weapons and engines and that.
Intrepid class is Voyager. Defiant was its own class.
Right. If you go back up, I posted a quick, I was really bored drawing of a ship that kind of made sense to what everybody was talking about wanting for their home ship. I basically took Enterprise E's engines, slammed them on a Defiant hull, and added a front bay that kind of looks like it's straight out of Star Wars.
Okay, that's what that is.
Which race had the symbiotes?
Trill.
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 I do like the drawing, by the way.
Will be a carrier.
You like what?
The drawing of our ship.
Okay.
Hey. Oh, I'm gonna have to actually log into whatchamacallit to do that, huh? It's not in the Discord, is it?
It is in the Discord on the Game Time channel.
Yeah, when did we rename the channels?
I asked
added
Russ
one.
to add a couple of them, and
okay.
that way we could focus on the the gaming stuff, whether it's Pathfinder, D&D, Star Trek. It could all be just confined to one place and not lost in the random bullshit of the general shenanigans, apparently the new name for it.
Yeah, there's like, I'll pop into the Discord and there's like way too much getting there. Like there's like 50 plus messages. I'm like, yeah, I'm not reading this.
Yeah, and so separating the game out where 5 back and forths might be all game, and then there's 20, pictures of Richard Nixon or something.
Yes. I'm not a crook.
Yes, well, there was my dick pic joke of the night.
I totally missed it.
Probably for the best.
Not really.
Anyway, so the Intrepid class base block has a crew of between 130 and 50 officers, and crew 13 Type 10 phaser strips, additional 4 phaser Type 8 phaser emitters, 5 torpedo launchers, 2 fore, 2 aft, 1 ventral that's usually just loaded up with probes. It also contains at least 4 Type 6 or Type 8 shuttlecraft. So, doesn't say how many more it would otherwise fit, but just given the size of your ship, I think 4 is more than enough.
Shove some Delta flyers in there too. Alright.
And I'm also going to allow you the emergency medical hologram that
Yeah.
comes normal with the Intrepid class.
Standards. EMH Mark II or 1?
It doesn't say, but I will have to track down the stat block for the EMH, and I'm going to just guess it's Mark 1, so
Yeah.
we are getting the classic.
How many bridge positions are there? How many bridge stations, I guess?
Many people have that. Well, just thinking off the top of my head, we got the helm. We got
Yeah,
the comms,
more than enough for everybody.
finance
Okay.
officer. We got the weapon station. We got security,
Yeah, I can think of 6 right off the top of my head.
medical. Yeah,
Well, like
I ended up
engineering's
going
not up
chief
there.
of security.
it can be
What?
up there.
Mike, did you say you went chief of security?
Yeah.
Cross species
That's what I
talent
figured.
is DM discretion.
So are you gonna go Vulcan for your main then?
Yes.
You guess. You don't have to choose a Vulcan.
No, I'm gonna roll for it eventually when we get there.
Well, I mean, I like the idea of combining the two, but then I have to come up with another character.
That's true.
Well, again, remember, if you got a couple competing ideas that you want to try and flesh out, you do have your main character and you do have your lower deck character.
Yeah, what we were privately talking about.
Alright.
But this says allow cross-species talents.
Yeah, if you're like human and something else, or changeling and Vulcan.
Long range explorer.
What are we supposed to do once we get to the species page?
Okay, so you
Select
clicked Vulcan, right?
Yeah.
So when you get to this page, you're going to go through the talents and select one that kind of sticks out to you.
Only one?
Well, for now, you're going to get more as you go along. So one of them I would recommend, especially is science, is towards the very bottom. There's one called technical expertise. It's really good. There
Yeah.
are other things, like there's Vulcan specific ones that you can also do, like the mind meld and the nerve pinch. So I would read up on those too. But because you're doing science, getting an additional die whenever you do a task, as long as it involves the computers or sensors,
Mm-hmm.
or you getting to reroll, is really big. Oh, I rolled a 20, which is a
Very, very
complication.
bad thing.
Let me just re-roll that because I happen to use a computer in the super advanced society that has computers everywhere.
Well, considering that's a huge part of science.
Yeah, It's a great one.
Yep, it would be very useful.
Well, good.
Let's-
And since a lot of things that, yep, you're on a ship that's out doing stuff.
I don't. So,
I think I took it. I can't remember. Let me check.
a ritual journey to purge all emotion.
I did not take that.
Can I do that in real life?
I believe that's the practice of stoicism.
So long as it's not
Look at the
asceticism.
Sarcasm.
Wait, what are you trying to get? Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, force of habit.
Okay, well, if I've already picked one, I don't have to read through any of the other ones, right?
Nope,
Just
just
move
that
them
one,
on.
then click next. And then you'll get to
Hey,
environment and
stop.
click select environment.
Oh, okay. Click that one next. Environment.
So here's kind of where you grew up. The things
I
you
gotta-
care about,
I'm gonna
you're
go
going to
for that.
choose
Okay.
one of the two in the attributes, and you're going to choose one of the disciplines. So find one that has things that you want to do. Control is like
Wait, I'm on.
being
Okay, so Sam, since you came in after I kind of gave the D&D equivalents of everything,
I was there pretty early.
were you? You got that? Okay. I thought you came in after that.
I just didn't turn on my microphone.
Aha.
Wait, I'm still back on the environment.
Did you do the select environment or the roll? You want to do the select environment.
I
And
mean,
once you get there, there's going to be options like the busy colony, the frontier colony. You're just going to look at those. I recommend just the first 5, unless
Why
you want to grow up on a different world.
I was gonna say, why wouldn't I come from my home?
Well,
Most people do. I came from an isolated colony.
I mean, there are people that could have grown up on, a long-haul cargo ship that could have been born on the moon of their home planet, could have been born as a
On
Starfleet
a
brats on a
starship.
starship.
I don't. That don't sound fun at all.
So you're doing homeworld.
I guess.
Okay.
Like,
It
I mean,
works
alternatively-
if you care about reason, and you can put one into reason for that, and then you can also put one into science, which are the two things you kind of want to focus on.
Alternatively, you could have grown up on a completely different planet, like Worf growing up on Earth, or what's her name from Discovery growing up on Vulcan.
yeah, no.
Alright, so I recommend putting your point into reason, so that's like intellect, and then
Alright.
select
What?
for discipline science.
Okay, so reason. Man, blah 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 blah. Am I doing science? All right.
That's what you said, science officer. You can
Well,
do
I-
something else. I don't care.
I
You can
had
do the
no
com-
idea what it was. I just told you the character I like.
Oh. So science would be the person who's like figuring out anomalies and doing all the Spocky stuff and the data stuff. Actually, Data might be comms, wasn't he?
Yes, I think so.
No, I just
Just
like
Spock.
Data's personality because he didn't have to deal with emotions until he
Oh.
wasn't looking for them.
Well, you could do command. If you do command, then you're like in charge of the ship or the
Ah.
XO, which would
Yeah.
also be like Spock.
You don't want me in charge of the ship.
All right,
I have like
In-
the least
in
star
character, you're
knowledge.
100% right.
Huh?
In character, you're 100% right.
I'm always right.
So your choices are between command, science, and security. Security's like
Somebody else already wants to be security officer.
you can still do it though. That's your own ability to use hand-to-hand combat or
Oh,
special
God,
weapons or whatever.
Yeah, it's
that
you
kinda
could be
Sulu being a fencer would be security. Right? Isn't that what he has? He got training in fencing.
Yeah, he did get additional training there. Yes, the
gotta pick
the disciplines are. You're not going to get a whole lot of points in them. I think the maximum that you can get in any one of them is, I think, 4 at your level.
Oh, it let me take science to 5 at character creation.
5? Okay, maybe it was
Change
5. No, I think that was just me misremembering.
It's
I could
four
be-
if you
it could
go
be-
with the inexperienced officer.
Okay, that's what I was
Okay.
thinking.
If you're
Okay,
experienced.
experienced. Spot on
Only
then.
one can be at 5, I think.
Is there like a list of values to choose from?
There, if you go into this, the forge thing,
Under
scroll
compendium
down.
packs.
under go to
Wait, what?
compendium packs, under items, there is values at the very bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a list of very common values.
Is that a different link?
Oh yes. You'll need to resend it to you.
Yep, tracking it down now. Yoink. And send. So we're playing in the Forge, same as Pathfinder.
Yeah. Okay. How did you send it? Did you send it?
Oh,
direct
and
message?
Discord in the Game Time channel.
Oh, okay. Everything. There it is.
Okay, so question.
Yes.
In the character creator tool,
Okay.
it automatically gave me weapons and equipment. How do I find any of that in the Forge?
That
Because
was
the items come up blank.
also under items, and for weapons, it's under personal weapons, and for equipment, it's personal equipment.
Yep.
Okay. I was looking under items and it comes up blank. I'm like,
Yeah, the compendium
It
that
doesn't
is
have-
included with the system is a little bit weird. I mean, it's got
It has a lot of the
spells.
talents, but not all of them.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
missing
saw
one of my
that.
talents.
I just changed one of mine to match what they had.
yeah, and you have the option of hitting the plus button on any of them to add your own. And in the case of values, yes, there are the standard ones, but as I said earlier, if you can distill it down into a maxim, a one-sentence mission statement, then it could be, whatever you want. Like, I think on my character sheet on Admiral Holtz, he's got loyalty above all, which doesn't exist in the Starfleet core value list.
And your values can change too.
And yes,
If you have a negative value, you can eventually get rid of it. If you have a positive value, you might change into something else.
Game open in the Forge. Where do I go to find values?
on the top toolbar on the right-hand side, the
Okay.
little book thingy next to the cogs, it's compendium packs,
Oh, there it is. Okay.
and then down under the items subheading and values.
Adventures.
Wait, can I? Oh no, that didn't do it.
Okay, wait. You said under item. And then what?
What?
So,
So under item, you're going to look for values, which is at the very bottom, right above journal entry.
Oh, okay, there we go. Oh. What? Has my back as a study buddy? What?
Okay,
Please
so you can put a character's name. So whenever you do something that would associate with that thing, you might get bonuses or whatever. Is it an extra die or is it a
it's
reroll or
an
what?
it's an extra die. So in the case of again, going back to Admiral Holtz as my example character. Let me see. I have a focus of interstellar navigation. That would be a control plus con check, which would give me a 14 challenge roll to beat. The interstellar navigation would give me 1 additional dice. And the 1 is a critical success, giving me 2 successes. The 3 is just regular success, and the 18 was a failure.
No, I'm laughing at understands technology better than people.
That would
Bingo.
be, yeah, that would be
Sounds
like
what you were
data.
talking about.
Yeah.
So,
Alternatively, half the score.
security. What color is the uniform?
Machines better than people.
Security is red, I believe.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
How are these like values?
It's things that, like, when you're in a situation mentally, that's like your go-to how you respond.
Yeah, like I'm looking
like-
at it, and I see faith in the prophets are a value, and that's probably a Bajoran
have-
specific one.
Insatiable curiosity. And then I also have a theory for every situation.
Well, we only pick one value, right?
Well, for
You'll
now,
have-
you're going to, like I said, you're going to get more as you go through character creation.
Yeah.
I think you end up
Yeah,
being
you should
4.
have 4 by the time you're done.
Okay, but there's 2 values that directly overlap here.
There's a
Why
lot of
did it-
values to overlap.
That seems to.
There's 2 popping out. There's no such thing as the unknown, only the temporarily hidden. And understanding is the purpose of life.
Obviously,
could-
those are still different.
Yeah, I could see situations where I would apply one, not the other.
Okay,
So
well,
understanding is the purpose
what?
of life could also be like how you respond to other people. Like, people all have a drive to discover new things and learn, and then your ability to like comprehend that and respect that. Whereas there's no such thing as the unknown doesn't necessarily relate to that. Like, those could be known things
Hmm.
that people are still learning.
no, the whole thing is there's no. Oh, wait, hold on.
Okay, well, consider
I'm reading
Guinan.
on the-
Consider
Oh.
Guinan. She constantly sought understanding.
Wait, who?
Guinan. Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, she was the best therapist on the ship, and probably smarter than most of the people on there as well. But what she did was she sought understanding of other people. She built her own very long life knowledge by connecting with people and understanding them. For her, it wasn't a case of trying to uncover what wasn't known. It was she just wanted to understand them.
Theory for every situation. Funny. Emotion in a crisis only makes things worse.
Ideal for Vulcans
Yep.
or those raised on Vulcan. How odd that I'm not seeing the 3D dice. I thought I had done that.
Going good.
Hmm.
You
You
did.
that. Good on.
I'm seeing them.
Yeah, I'm not seeing them roll across. Oh, are you on private rolls or self rolls?
No, it's on public.
Living with
Yeah.
your ideals is harder than dying for them. Oh, that one makes me laugh.
Okay.
I gotta let y'all go though.
Ryan.
Sorry.
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
I have pretty much all my character done too.
All right. Well, excellent. Then perhaps next time we get together, we can just polish off characters. I'll review everybody's, and we could probably get into the tutorial level.
Sounds good. And there is a note section, so if there were things you wanted to know about my character because of what we talked about, you're welcome to add anything.
Certainly, and I'm sure for everybody that's going through the character builder, gonna have to transfer that on over, but it's pretty easy. The end result, the end page or PDF that they give you is yeah, pretty straightforward.
Hey, so this Star Trek Adventures link, are you supposed to be able to pull up all these books? Because it's not letting me do squat with it.
No, the character builder is just the picture below it. No, that was just a picture that just happened to wind up next to the link. Sorry.
Oh, no. So, like, I clicked the link, I'm on the character generator,
Okay.
and it's got all the books here, like all the quadrant books, division books, campaign books. They're just highlighting, like nothing happened.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that's just opening up their own internal database. I just limited you to what books we had and could reference if anything came up from the character building, because there are species and talents and whatnot that are available in the other books that we just have zero reference for. And so the highlighting on that first page is just picking the books that we have access to, not actually opening them up. The books themselves, back in the general shenanigans tag, under pinned messages, is my Google Drive that contains everything except for the Klingon core book. But admittedly, most of it is just irrelevant information. The character builder incorporates all of the necessary data for character creation into the website.
And we only pick one value,
Okay.
right?
The values, you get to add more values each time you go through an additional part of the character. So
Yeah,
you'll pick
you'll
a
get
value
4
at
total.
you'll wind up with 4, 1 at your upbringing, 1 at your I think choosing to accept your culture or rebel against it, 1 as your Starfleet Starfleet Academy history, and the final at your first post, maybe, or something like that.
Finishing touches, I think it's called.
Yes, that one. So you'll see the opportunities. It's, if you keep clicking the button, it will work.
One I want to pick first, I don't think would make sense to take first.
Well, what are you thinking?
Well, the one I like is there's no such thing as the unknown, just the temporarily hidden.
Okay.
But as again raised there, emotion in a crisis only makes things worse. Would have been the first thing I learned.
I would argue for the other way around. I think the youth upbringing experience in general leads one to want to explore and learn more. Logic and reason comes later in one's teen years or early adults, if at all.
Okay, I like it. You're justifying the one I want, so.
That is my job.
Let's go back to the site. Oh wait, there's another. How many pages do I go through here?
Like, I don't know, a couple dozen.
Oh, good. More. Okay. Let's upbringing. Diplomacy and politics. No, thank you.
Well, you're not cut out for command.
No, I don't like being in the spotlight.
It's a good thing I changed that method of milestones.
Artistically created.
So is this stuff also the same stuff that like Alex had on like from a long time ago on his stuff, or is that something entirely different?
I'm guessing it's probably not, because this system was published in 2020.
Okay, yeah, no, this stuff is like all from like 2014.
Hmm.
Now, what the hell?
The 2D20 system, I think, has been around for a lot longer, but it's got like Conan the Barbarian. Shit, what other? Modifius. Let's see. So it's got Dune, Fallout, Conan, John Carter of Mars, Aktun Cthulhu. Is that Cthulhu meets the Third Reich or something? It's got a lot of books for whatever the hell it is. But anyway, I feel like the Conan books have been around for a while, though.
There are too many things to choose from.
Well,
No.
there is going to be every session the opportunity to modify things if you're unhappy with your initial character build.
Well, I'm just wondering how far I have to go through this for it to save.
Unfortunately, I think it's all the way through because there's really no save on the
Yeah.
on the character builder. It's view final or export to PDF, which is what I did.
Fine, we're just gonna focus. Oh crap! Where do I find focus?
The focuses are
Back under that little book thingy.
Yes, under the item subheading focuses.
Astrophysics. Espionage. Extravehicular activity? What the hell is that?
Spacewalks, any external repairs, even just even just opening the door of the shuttlecraft prior to prior to actually landing safely. If for some reason you want to make a halo jump.
Toss a couple grenades out the back as you're driving by.
Just really pulling a full B'Elanna Torres.
Oh yeah, when the ship takes damage, are the consoles going to randomly explode?
Sorry. No, not usually. There is there is the allowed storytelling opportunities, but I'm not going to just randomly give everybody plasma burns, unless unless a complication deems otherwise. In a case of critical success by an enemy or critical failure by your own actions, complications can be things like a console exploding. But I'm not going to do it just for the hell of it.
I remember that happening a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost as silly as all of the times the warp cores are ejected. It's just like console explode, warp core gets ejected.
Alright, what's a good focus for science for Vulcan? There's too many.
Huh?
Perhaps spatial phenomena.
Shipboard tactical systems.
I would think that would be more a...
Experimental technology.
That one could be.
There's physics in there. There's...
Well, consider that there are no wrong answers, because a lot of what I'm going to build is going to be around your ability to do it. So if there's nobody in the group that is going to know that, you know, what we're looking at is just a regular old nebula, nothing more, nothing less, from one that's cram-packed full of chronoton particles that if you go in there you're going to wind up in 1920, well, then I probably am not going to write a story along those lines, because you just wind up in 1920 going, why is everybody dressed weird?
What falls under theoretical physics?
All the physics that we do not presently know in the real world. And so, unified field theory, quantum particles, tachyons, chronotons.
Most stuff I don't.
So, I mean, it's like subspace communications falls under...
Yes, tachyon particles with Rick Marshall.
And actually, I stand corrected. Subspace communications is its own is its own focus as I stare at it.
What falls under quantum mechanics?
Working at the very small, so probably nanoparticles, synthesizing omega particles. Yeah, working at the subatomic level.
And physics is just how things work in general.
Right. Actually, now as I look at that, since they do have physics and theoretical physics on the list, I think the definition they may be wanting to go for is physics are all Star Trek physics up to the present Star Trek day, and theoretical physics being more along the lines of slipstream technology, or even transwarp in this era is still technically theoretical.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. Well, yeah. My practical definition, physics is what we know here on Earth, and everything theoretical is how space works.
Is what we don't know.
We're just gonna go with physics then. You would make me have to make a whole lot of choices tonight, wouldn't you? Are we supposed to click on Starfleet Academy at the bottom?
Yes, that's advancing to the next screen.
Select officer track, roll it. What the hell? Well, you said we're officers,
So,
right?
yes, your officers.
Operation. Oh, science, there we go. Yeah, I'm in operation.
Do we have a pilot yet?
I've
I
taken pilot,
okay.
or at least I've designed a character for pilot. If someone else wants to absolutely be, I can do something else.
No, I believe you're the first to ask. Let's see. Berlin, you were doing ops, science ops. Oh, right, he left. Sorry.
Yeah, he wanted operations manager.
Oh my god, there's
Yeah.
three.
Okay, and then lock, pilot, con.
So how do the attributes play out?
Sorry, I was choking there. What was the question?
The attributes, if you went through the D&D equivalents, I think I missed that part.
Okay, so you've got the 6 attributes: control, daring, fitness, insight, presence, reason. Their D&D equivalents are control is like dexterity, your ability to, in this system, also controlling your emotions, as well as your ability to dexterously handle anything. Daring
There.
doesn't quite have an equivalent. It's basically, how much guts you got, how much chutzpah. When you want to skim the atmosphere of a gas giant or fly too close to a supernova, these are daring feats. The most likely use that you might see is in cases of battle in order to stabilize somebody on the battlefield. That's a daring plus medical challenge.
Okay.
Where you're doing it under pressure.
What's fitness?
Fitness is strength.
Okay.
Insight is wisdom.
Okay.
And so your presence is your charisma. And reason is intelligence. And so you were going Vulcan, was that correct?
Yeah, now I gotta select 3 attributes. Up to 3.
Reason, I believe, would be one that you would want to have a high score in, simply by virtue that a lot of control and reason are what I would consider key Vulcan traits. Control, your ability to control your emotions. Reason, your ability to figure it out in high stress situations that would affect other species.
No, I was looking control, insight, and reason. Because what they currently are with the other things it's added in, control is 10, daring is 7, fitness is 8, insight is 7, presence is 7, and reason is 10. Are these like also out of 20 or whatever?
So they're out of
No, they.
12.
Yeah, the max that you can get to right now is, I think Mike was saying there was 12.
Yeah, and you can only have one stat that hits 12. Unless you go new recruit, and then your highest is 11.
I just stuck 1 in control, 1 in insight, and 1 in reason.
That's a good combo for a Vulcan.
Yep.
Well, I was thinking maybe sticking 2 into insight since it's.
If I recall, I don't think it would let you. I think it only
No, I
let
think
you.
You have to do 3 different, or
No.
different ones at each one.
It would let me do 2 in insight.
Yeah, in Starfleet Academy you can double up or whatever that step is. Yeah, step 4, Starfleet Academy, you can double up.
See if I like that. Look to now I got to do what the hell.
Okay, I uploaded a picture. I have a picture now. Bless you.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Aha.
Astronavigation. Basically navigating by the stars.
Yes, your ability to. Yuki, don't chew on that, please. Yes, your ability to actually navigate the galaxy. And I would also say, if you are in uncharted parts of the galaxy, your ability to interpret local maps.
Etiquette. I feel like that one needs to be a focus.
Etiquette and protocol, 3PO? Hey, stop.
Yeah, he single-handedly saved Lando Calrissian's life once.
Jury rigging is an option.
Nah.
Make it work.
Yeah, at all costs.
Alright, I think I'm done with my character, actually.
Alright.
Check it out.
And how do you pronounce your character's name?
Toxon.
Toxon, okay. And did you want to use the additional Klingon rules regarding having a house and the honor-dishonor system?
Probably. I just haven't seen them yet.
Okay, I will scan them in and get them to you, get it onto the game channel tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's see. Good fitness, security, Mm-hmm. Oh, proud and honorable Klingon. Yeah, you're gonna like the honor system.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking good to my eyes here. Another species world. Did you want to further elaborate on that, or did you just want to leave it vague for now?
I hadn't decided yet. I just left it vague for
Okay.
now.
Just wanted to know if you were thinking anything particular. But if
No,
not,
there were a couple interesting ones, but I couldn't decide on which one.
all good. Yep, looking just fine to me.
Alrighty. Thank you. The tutorial was very helpful.
Well, if it wasn't, thanks for humoring me.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays here in the Forge.
Yeah, I'm a little curious too. I've looked around and I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get the challenge die, that D6, to roll any other way than using the macro. But I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
Oh wait,
a little bit
no,
of-
that never mind. I figured it out.
There
How
you
many
go.
talents are we supposed to select? Just one?
How many what?
It
I'm
is-
sorry.
How many talents?
I believe it depends.
As you're going through the creator, it'll have you select between 1 and 3 at each step. You'll end up with about 6.
Okay, if I click on a different one, it moves it. So one
Oh,
on
no,
that.
sorry, that's focuses. Talents, you end up with about 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I was say I only got 4.
I mix up my talents and focuses there. But... yeah, the character creation's a little bit weird because you'll only select one at a time through various steps, but you end up with a bunch.
Career. Good lord. Are we all young officers?
Experienced officers. Don't worry, the lower deck character is literally just a one-page thing. And at some point I should probably add our lower decks to... What? How about this?
Okay. So I found character creation on the core book. But I still don't understand like the different things. Hold on, let me pull it up. Oh yeah, disciplines: command, comms, security, engineering, science, medicine. Like, what are the different offshoots of that?
Let's see. I mean, those are just kind of the overarching career paths. Like command is, where you're wanting to go if you're looking at diplomacy or the starship operations. The engineering career path is more like, you wanted to be down there tinkering with all of the machinery and an alien culture, learning how that works. The science officers, they're there to, study the strange new worlds and figure out, why is there a spike in tachyon particles going through that nebula over there.
Okay.
So, and then then dependent on what track you choose, then the character builder will give you the attribute increases that are associated with that track.
Okay, does the character builder's thing actually do stuff?
It does,
Right now
yeah.
I'm
It's
fine.
it. If you go through the character builder, it won't let you advance without fully distributing all of the points.
Okay, that's
Alright,
in the
guys.
Forge, right?
No, that was the link to the character creator, the sta.bchomes.org.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Forge, I thought it had the character builder built in like it did for Pathfinder, but alas, no.
Alright, guys, I'm out.
All right, have a good night, Mike.
You too, thanks.
I'm gonna bounce too. Have a good night, guys.
All right, you as well.
Good night. Okay, yeah, so there's 7 for all the attributes, 1 in all of the different. You gonna let me do anything here? Okay, so yeah, if I go down to profile, it shows species, environment, and stuff. It all says nuns.
Nuns. Which page were you on again?
Okay, so I went over to the far left where it says profile.
Ah, okay.
That's probably the wrong spot, I think.
Right. If you go up at the top of the page, and if you're not already at the home page, and it's where it says home, select tool, character, and starship. If it doesn't say that, just hit the home. And if you go go into the character and starship.
Okay.
And we're going to make sure that the rule books, core and Klingon, are highlighted. All of the quadrant books, division books,
Alright.
and these are the voyages, or these are the Voy.
Okay.
So we want those to be the darker pink color. And then we'll go down to Next Generation, 24th Century.
Okay.
Main character.
Ah.
And what type of character is this? It's Starfleet. Create. And then here you can select a species or do a mixed species or roll species. John did that for all of his everything.
What is John doing?
Let's see. Did he? He did not translate his character into the Forge yet.
Ah.
Now I'm gonna pick my gender.
Do ya?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's nothing stopping you from being male, female, non-binary, binary, trinary. Let's see, what are the other ones that they've introduced in Star Trek?
Holy cow, there's a lot of different races in here. Okay. Oh, okay. So if you click on the different, just kind of roll whatever instead of it'll give you one randomly, right?
Right. If you select roll, uh, roll whichever page you're on.
Species.
Okay. Yes. So for that one, if you select, you can pick from the core rulebook, which basically just has the founding members of the Federation as options, or you can go into any of the expanded Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta quadrant species if you have a preferred corner of the galaxy.
I do not.
Well, then I
watched
would
the shows
recommend
back in the
punching
day.
either Alpha or Beta quadrants, because they have the widest available options, and actually being species you might know.
I am human.
Ah, I see, human.
Select 3 random traits.
Kiowa, she's fine. Go! Quit arguing. Salem, leave her alone.
Okay, and just so that people aren't confused when they go back to the Forge, I've created folders inside the character page, the actors page, dividing bridge crew and lower decks into their own folders.
Go. I'm just
Alright, so
going.
that's like one talent or
You're going to wind up selecting many talents over the course of character creation. And so, back in the Forge, under the Compendium tab, there is... Where did it go? Character... Shit, I've lost it. There we are. General talents. Oh, right. Except for that long list there. Duh, sorry. Getting late for me. Brain stopped working. You're going to get a couple of different chances to select multiple talents and multiple values. So, and you don't have to be married to them right now. Like I said, there will be many opportunities to adjust them as the game goes on. You realize, maybe I didn't really want that.
It automatically puts commander in for rank.
You can select any of the options there at the end.
I don't know what any of them are.
Well, your biggest thing is going to be your ability. Sorry, your ability to get away with being not Starfleet. The primary rank system is how much is expected of you. It's like if you're at an ensign level, I think you get one or two less focuses than a commander does, but nobody expects anything of you. You're the scrappy underdog, and so you're still wanting to follow Starfleet rules. You're still, trying to be gung-ho about it. Whereas by the time you're a lieutenant commander, you've kind of gotten more world weary, and it's just like, yeah, sometimes you got to break the rules to make the rules. And consequently, when we're figuring out reputation at the end of a mission, then there are the modifiers for a lieutenant. You can basically get away with breaking the rules. I think it's 3 times. Whereas an ensign, you only get one chance. You get one go at breaking the rules.
So where are we supposed to find traits? It wants me to add another one.
Let's see, you're on the finishing touches page, are you? Let me just catch up with you so I can... Downside to using the external roll officer track, yada yada yada, boom boom.
Frontier colony. Let's go for it.
Did we name our ship yet?
There was not any discussion on it.
Wow. TBD. Does it let us change that?
When you get to that point, it's not going to matter because you're going to have to transfer it all into the Forge anyway, manually.
Oh, that's annoying.
And at that point, you'll be able to just say, the USS TBD.
As it says, your character automatically has the following trait, Vulcan. You can specify additional traits here.
Okay, yep, alright, I'm caught up with you. So, at the moment, no, you don't have anything to put in that one. And your rank, as I said, it's, your ability to get away with breaking rules, and also just how you see your character. If you feel that the logical thing to do would be to just be a lieutenant or lieutenant junior grade or even an ensign, and just be the up and coming spry young pup.
Alright, you said export it to a PDF.
Yeah, I would recommend exporting to PDF, because if you just hit view and you close the window, you're done forever, and it just immediately deletes.
Which
Standard TNG character sheet. I'm sorry, 2-page TNG character sheet. My bad.
I think it already puts it in 2-page.
Well, if it didn't, you can always go back and just re-export.
Oh, 2-page. The landscape one?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, 2-page.
It's just your semi-hard copy, so that when you close the website, you have it.
I guess 2-page, so it's not tiny to read. Nope, still small.
Did you hit the export to PDF button?
Oh, wait. It's got, like... How do we go back and fix events?
How do you mean? The career events?
Yeah.
I would recommend just avoiding trying to go back, and you can have that. Let's see. Yeah, because you'd be putting it into your notes section on the Forge anyway.
But doesn't it, like, roll things up differently?
It doesn't roll anything on the Forge.
What I meant into the character. Because I thought it didn't take it, but it put the same event in twice.
Let me check real quick.
Career. Event 1 and Event 2, it's the same thing.
And okay, yeah, there's no practical difference to what it is. It could just as well say looked in sun without sunglasses as anything else. It has no effect on any stats whatsoever.
Oh, okay. Stress. Why are there so many little boxes checked?
That's just the way that it blocks out stress, and so your actual stress is going to be the only thing that the Forge actually calculates for you.
Okay.
But all of the checked out or crossed out boxes are just supposed to be like blackouts.
Okay. So we have somebody who says he's going to be the pilot. Do we have any other ship operations people?
Verlin was looking to be just a operations manager, so just kind of like commander oversight of the various ops and science stations, but nobody actually at those stations. We did also have Lachlan going in as pilot con. Sam seemed to be leaning on the science side of things, if I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the assignment just says science officer.
Yeah, and so, and there's no problem with
So
having
that
overlap.
character
Oh, and
ship operations be navigation and sensors.
sorry, I missed the first half of that.
would ship operations or command track, because they both have con on leading in that direction? Which one of those would be better for like navigation / sensor stuff?
Believe the recommended path is command.
Okay.
Let's see, departments.
Okay.
Con is quality of ship's flight, communications, computers, engineer. Yes, but what department is that? Oh, apparently Con is its own department? That doesn't make sense.
Okay. We don't have to like. We're not putting
Anyway.
it into the tonight, right? We're just making characters.
If you've got it saved, I will see what I can do to keep the server up for. Let's see. I guess if I leave, it shuts off, huh? It's not like Roll20. Right. We will have some time before the next session to input any data and do some final tweaks before we start the tutorial.
Well, I mean, because I've gone into our other game here on the Forge without John being on.
Oh. Well, then it will probably work and you'll be able to put it in whenever then.
I would say I don't think it matters if you're on or not.
Well, hopefully
Although,
that.
I guess I should know how to get to that page, huh? It's a token control.
You know, I realize I could probably just check. Let's see. Let me just try loading up John's game now.
Oh, okay. So I just bring up the character sheet and then I start filling in these boxes? Is that what I do?
Right. Oh yeah, how about that? I guess you can access it whenever. Totally forgot that.
I guess it does it all in caps, huh?
Yeah, it's a little annoying because it's all caps in the data box, but then you look over on the character sheet on the right-hand side and it still shows upper and lower regardless. And so when you get to the bubbles that are for the reputation track, you start out at 10.
So just click on 10.
You're right. And Maeve, if I forgot to say, Mike was looking at Chief of Security.
Yeah.
I started doing stuff. Does this like automatically save? I don't have to like do that, right?
I do believe it does automatically save.
Alright, so we are experienced officer.
Yes, that was correct.
We're supposed to like make up our own upbringing.
The upbringing was part of the character creation, and that was the home world.
Okay, because I just copied and pasted it, but it sounds very generic and doesn't all fit in the box.
Well, apparently I wrote that I was from a busty colony as opposed to a busy colony.
Hmm. Transporter accident.
Ah,
I'm gonna go with it just because.
fun backstory. I look forward to hearing that.
Where is that? Wait a minute, I thought I just did. Oh, do I have more than one?
More than one of which?
Career event.
As an experienced officer, it's like kind of think of your backstory. You've probably had a couple defining moments in your career that has brought you to this point now. So, like, maybe earlier in your career, you had that transporter accident that, I don't know, gave you a transporter clone, left you in the pattern buffer for a couple of years, something. And then later on, maybe you were part of the Dominion War. If you're looking to be like lieutenant commander or commander, aged character, maybe you even were just an ensign at Wolf 359 or something, or Battle of Sector 001, something like that. But yeah, you've had a couple of life events that have defined your career in Starfleet.
Okay. I'm gonna go with first contact.
Always a red letter day.
Pronouns is on here.
Irrelevant in the long run. I'm going to run and get a drink real quick, but I still got my cans on if you have a question.
Yeah, just
Right, back.
yep.
Let's see.
Your stats are looking good, Sam. Were you still working on that last focus there?
Yeah, like I said, it ended up doing when the career thing did it twice. It put a responsibility to the truth in twice.
Ah, okay. Two,
So
four.
maybe I'll have to figure out.
Yeah, when let's see. Yeah, you can go onto the focus tab and pick another one.
Okay, export to PDF.
Yes, indeed. I recommend the 2-page one.
Well, I also like if you leave through the PDF, you can just copy and paste. So I'm not having to rewrite all of these talent descriptions.
Okay, so now what do I do with the
Alright, so now that you got your PDF, you'll want to pop back over to the Forge and pull up your character sheet.
okay.
And unfortunately, it's a copy and paste game. Personally, the way I did it was I filled in the stats first, the attributes and disciplines.
Okay.
So where are we supposed to put the career events?
Under notes is a good place for it. Although it doesn't look like anybody else copied that over, that's just for your own backstory. Though putting it into the place where I can see it, I can help craft better stories for your character.
I'm sticking it all on there. So are we supposed to put the weapons and stuff in too?
You can drag those over from the compendium list.
What do you mean from the compendium list?
On the compendium, if you go to personal weapons, under the items subtab. You know, everybody's gonna have unarmed strike and type 2 phasers. And as a Vulcan, you get nerve pinch.
I don't know if I took that one though. I
Uh,
think it have you learned?
It's a racial trait.
Okay.
At least I think it is. I'm pretty sure. You know what? Screw it. I'm the boss. It's a racial trait.
Well, under the compendium, you said I can brag something?
Here, let me pull up Commander Velik. Here we are. Poink.
Commander.
Poink and poink. There you go.
That worked.
Yeah, let's see. Maeve, I'm going to do the same for you since I'm on the page.
And then it
Okay.
gives uniform communicator and tri-porter.
Personal equipment, yep. Here, I'll make sure everybody's got communicators at least. Communicators for everyone. You got it already, you got it. You got it.
Are you adding the other stuff? Or should I put that in?
I was just tracking down. Let's see. Let's see. There's your uniform. That just could not, for the life of me, find the right damn button.
Oh, you. What was a tricorder?
Scanner.
That's the little scanner unit that they are always using.
Yeah, everybody's got one.
Yeah. Well, another
If
communicator.
you're a science person, you're going to be using the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's basically your all-in-one mobile lab / smartphone.
Gotcha. And you said I don't have to do the little stress boxes?
The stress track is already filled out for you. So that's the only thing this whole silly system calculates for you.
It says 10 though. There's like a whole lot more check marks.
The check marks were blackouts. They were. It was their way of marking Xing it out as non-existent.
Okay. So then the 10 is accurate.
Yeah, the stress track is calculated by fitness plus security. So in your case,
10.
yeah, a little bit low. You are not a frontliner. Yeah, so I would not recommend going toe-to-toe with any Klingons or Romulans.
Well, no. That's not my job as a scientist.
Precisely.
I'm there to tell you how shit works and how to fix it. Although I kind of ended up with science is my top discipline, but then I've also got engineering and medicine a little bit more too.
Yeah, you are very well rounded. I mean, you bosom buddies with Spock there. I mean, yeah, that's
Kind of the point. Kind of my favorite character.
understandable. You have written a very very strong Vulcan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not a rule breaker like any T'Pols we know.
Paul. Did somebody name themselves already?
No, T'Pol was the Spock of Enterprise.
Oh, gotcha.
and
I just went.
and she was she didn't play by the rules.
I just went with one of their name suggestions on there because that type of creativity is not my forte.
It's all right. It's a good proper Vulcan name. You know, I'll have to talk with Mike. His name isn't quite Klingon, but I'm sure there's a reason for using a family name instead of a house name.
Which one?
Toksan Gruntash.
Who's Tessa McKnight?
That one is Verlin. His character. He is a she, I believe.
And where are we supposed to find pictures?
Yeah, just go rip it off the World Wide Web. It's there for more than porn.
It's there. Wait, what?
I just sure.
I heard something about porn.
I said it's there for more than porn.
Oh, more than porn.
Yes, despite the old and ancient song.
Okay. Need to put in another focus. So I think the only thing missing is another focus, right?
That is what I see. That is what I see. Just one last focus.
And then to go back and figure out what the other career event is.
I just picked two that sound like fun.
What is it?
I just picked two that sound like fun.
Yeah, and it could truly be anything. I mean, you know, be it first contact, like I'd heard, or...
Well, and that's what I'm thinking, because if the event, my other event is encounter with a truly alien being, wouldn't first contact technically fall under that too?
Could be two completely different events. Maybe the truly alien being was a non-sentient being.
Alright, back to focuses. I can figure that out.
Here, I can clear the blank if you want.
I just put it in there to remind me to
Ah.
put it in.
Let's see. So, what exactly in science would most interest Velik? Like, is she more like probing of stuff, or a more like universal sense? I mean, I see physics and astrophysics in there, so you're kind of like 7 of 9, just sitting in stellar cartography, just in awe of the maps before you kind of character, yeah?
Maybe? I don't know. I'm more thinking like hands-on how things work and building and putting them together.
Okay. I was just looking through the focuses along with you to see if there
Yeah.
was something that might make sense for you. Um,
I mean, xenobiology is one of the recommendations for the event.
mm-hmm. That would follow. I mean, encountering a truly alien being and as a separate event, being on a first contact ship, that could follow with a specialty in xenobiology. Your skills would be wanted for such missions.
What's xenanthropology?
Study of ancient alien cultures. Picard and his on again, off again girlfriend were, well, one was a professional xenoanthropologist, and Picard was an amateur.
Okay. Computer. I guess we'll just put that one on there. I'm not sure why it stuck a responsibility to the truth under focuses. That just feels kind of weird.
Well, whatever.
Well, I mean, that's where it put it, like, on the character sheet.
Yeah, and I don't think I can. No, it doesn't look like I can move it to anywhere else, so obviously that's where it belongs. I mean, I use focus and values in somewhat the same way for determining any additional dice to add to your pool.
What did we say the other career event was? First contact? Or
First
something?
contact.
I don't see those as let's put it. I don't know, make it some- I got the UV.
Your values? I'm on your page watching you.
Career. Yeah, I was using those because I can't find any other thing to.
Yeah. You're good. So, okay. I see what's going on now. Those ones, like the transporter accidents, I would put those under the notes section. Because that's your personal history. That, for some weird reason, doesn't actually have a field in this.
Yeah.
Your values, those ones are, let's see, where? So they should have been listed separately from your life events.
Okay. I think that's it.
I think mine's done too.
Yeah, Sam, I was just finishing looking through yours here. And yes.
Is there a different picture thing for the tricorder? Or?
I don't know. Let me look. No, not items. Personal weapons. No, personal equipment.
What's the difference between lieutenant and lieutenant commander? I'm wondering if I should
A
switch it down.
filled-in pip.
I'm just wondering if I should back it down one.
Commander, you would be able to run a bridge shift or take command in a crisis. Lieutenant wouldn't be able to sit in the big chair. So Commander is just an indication of having command training that if shit hits the wall, they're looking to you for guidance, Captain.
Well, and I have a feeling how I've put the character together, that's what's going to happen anyway.
Then we can stick with Lieutenant Commander.
I don't know, we'll figure it out. I can down.
As it stands right now, we do have actually a very good cross-section of grades. No ensigns, but we have one commander, 2 lieutenant commanders if you keep yours, Sam, 2 lieutenants. So yeah, it's actually a very competent bridge crew. Okay, and Maeve, on to yours. Okay, so the values, you've got your history in there. I'd move those on over to notes over here.
Okay, I dropped out of the thing. So whatever you're doing, I can't see. I did.
Okay. No problem. Well, then, I was just saying, your values, if they didn't translate onto the PDF form under the values section, you can go into the compendium tab under values, and if you remember what you had, you can just drag them into your character sheet, or pick new ones if you don't remember. But that's
the values didn't come up with a thing, so
okay. Then yeah, just we'll have a little bit of time to finish things out, and all of us bust out a quick lower decks character before the first session. So we'll just drag on some new values for you next time around.
that works.
It's all right. I will just.
Yeah, I got everything I did on my thing transferred over.
Yep, everything else looks great. Looking like a fun character.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think that does it for tonight then. Thanks for putting up with me, and I hope I don't fuck this up.
That'll be fine.
It's all right. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Good night.